So this is the weirdest debate topic when it comes to Paige Bueckers, and I'm fully convinced this is a Paige Bueckers topic because obviously, this is one of those things where if you look at TikTok, this is where you get the fucking unhinged people. Like, obviously, I've started posting TikToks, doing okay, pretty natural, like very few followers from this, but like 70 followers, basically every single TikTok getting 1 to 5,000 views mostly. But the reality is that I've gotten some absolutely unhinged comments, and it's some of the takes are legitimately just idiotic. So a couple of days ago, the Team USA teams were announced, and everyone's talking about, oh, will Paige play point guard? And my thing is like, well, Paige isn't a point guard. I'm like, everybody's talking about Paige Bueckers playing this position. I'm like, Paige Bueckers isn't the point guard. And that's fine because Paige Bueckers is the best offensive shooting guard in basketball. Like, she just is. Her off-ball movement, her ability to relocate, her ability to cut, her ability to both run to the three-point line off pin downs and curl into the mid-range is exceptional. Her ability to seal in the post, that post fade on smaller defenders, like, she is an off-ball player. And it's always the weirdest debate when it comes to Paige and Caitlin Clark is that they are literally, like, they're polar opposites players. They don't even play the same position. And that's why I was like, yeah, like, I don't know if there's a more perfect point guard to have beside Paige Bueckers than Caitlin Clark. Like, it'll help. Having a Paige Bueckers beside Caitlin Clark will help Caitlin Clark, and having a Caitlin Clark beside Paige Bueckers will help Paige Bueckers. Like, if we're being completely honest, their styles mesh their styles mesh so well. But there was a like podcast where AZ Fudd was talking about like the UConn or a starting five, and said, after mentioning Paige, being like, we need a point guard, and everyone's laughing, being like, oh, this is ridiculous. Paige is a point guard. It's like, I don't even think Paige herself thinks she's a point guard. She's not a point guard. She didn't play point guard. She hasn't. If you look even last season, when Paige was, I'm not going to say struggling, because it was never a time she struggled. There were games where she didn't look great, but I'm not going to say there was ever a time in the WNBA season where she struggled. But when she was playing point guard beside Enrique, she didn't look good. She didn't look good. There's a reason why Grace Berger started so often, because Grace Berger was able to get Paige the ball where she wanted the ball. There's a reason at UConn she had Nika Mule start. Like, by the end of their freshman years, Nika Mule was starting. But Nika Mule was starting through 3 of Paige's years. And then they brought in Caitlin Chen. They literally brought in a point guard to play off Paige, because Paige Bueckers is a 2 guard. And that's not saying that Paige Bueckers can't play the 1. Like, if you are stuck, and by the way, like, I think Paige Bueckers is a better point guard than I think she's a better point guard than playing Kelsey Plum at the 1. Like, I think she is better at running the show. She can run the offense. I think there's a lot of positives to her playing the point guard position in comparison, for example, to a Kelsey Plum. Because I think a lot of people, when it comes to Kelsey Plum, are like, they talk about Kelsey Plum is a point guard for Team USA. So I think in general, we're looking at that and it's like, yeah, I think she can play the backup point. I don't mind. She's one of those players that, because of her versatility, she absolutely can be on a roster as a combo guard. Like, Caitlin is your true point guard. Like, Caitlin's not a two. If you're playing Caitlin at the 2, something's gone wrong. Something's gone wrong. If you're playing Caitlin as a shooting guard, something has gone wrong. But if you're playing, again, when it comes to Paige Bueckers, if you're playing Paige Bueckers the 1, you ideally don't want to do that, but it's not like something's gone desperately wrong. But it's funny because I think UConn fans themselves, the actual UConn fans, are talking about it, and they're like, even when Paige played with AZ, Paige looked for her own shot. Instead of, Paige didn't pass the ball to AZ that much. It was a Caitlin Chen. It was these other players. They played with their point forward in Sarah Strong. Like, even UConn fans know. UConn fans legitimately know. They know and they understand that Paige Bueckers is not is not a point guard. And they understand, like, even these are UConn fans that will say Paige Bueckers is better than Caitlin Clark, and that's fine. I don't agree, but like, it's a take. You're allowed to have basketball takes people don't agree with. But like, it is, in my opinion, The Paige Bueckers is a point guard crew are not people that are watching basketball. That's just my theory. My theory is that those people are not watching basketball, but they're using Paige Bueckers as a vehicle to put down another player. Because one, Paige Bueckers, if you are trying to argue Paige Bueckers is a point guard, then there is absolutely zero argument you can make that Paige Bueckers is better than Caitlin Clark. The only argument that you can make about Paige Bueckers being better than Caitlin Clark is that she's a better scorer, which I agree with. I think she's a more versatile scorer. I'm not going to argue that point. But you are not going to be able to argue any other point for Paige over Caitlin. There's no other argument as an on-the-ball... There's no argument as an on-the-ball player. Because, I'm sorry, Paige Bueckers is a better isolation mid-range scorer. Okay, how relevant is being an isolation mid-range scorer in modern basketball? We have to be honest here. How relevant is that to winning in modern basketball? Not very. That being said, she's just not a point guard. The argument starts and ends with she's not a point guard. It is not her position. There's no point judging Paige Bueckers as a point guard because that's like judging Caitlin Clark off when she was playing small forward for some reason. Remember that game when Stephanie White said thought she was a small forward? If you're judging Caitlin Clark based on how she played at small forward, you're going to say, oh, she's not a great small forward. Albeit, Paige Bueckers is a better point guard than Caitlin Clark is a small forward. We have to also talk about it. Players can... it's a positionless game. But when you have a player who is a off-ball savant in Paige Bueckers, she is absolutely an off-ball savant, who's a really good on-the-ball player, but not this absolutely exceptional on-the-ball player. If you're asking me who's a better on-the-ball player, Sabrina Ionescu or Paige Bueckers, I think in terms of isolation scoring, it's Paige Bueckers, but that's the only thing I'm going to give her court feel, or not even her court feel. Her in the pick and roll, she doesn't, for lack of a better way of describing it, she's not, her off-the-ball gravity is much better than her on-the-ball gravity in helping a team win. And that's a fine thing to say about a player. But if you say that in women's basketball, you're fucking the devil, you're racist. I don't even know what other adjectives can be used to describe you if you make the statement that I just made there. That Paige Bueckers isn't the point guard. But look, at the end of the day, this is a topic that's never going to end. It is never going to end. And the reason why it's never going to end is because this is not a debate about basketball. This is absolutely not a debate about basketball. And I feel like if this was a debate about basketball, this would be, we would already be, this. If this was a debate about basketball, I don't know how much we'd be talking about it right now, because at this point in time, there is no real argument for Paige Bueckers over Caitlin Clark because Caitlin has just been was significantly better as a rookie than Paige was as a rookie. Caitlin's younger, so you can't really use that, and Caitlin was crippled last season, so it's hard to hold that against her. We'll see next season if the debate opens back up, but it's really hard to argue. If you're a UConn fan or you're a Dallas Wings fan, absolutely argue for Paige. Always argue for your player. Rafinha is the best player in the world, and he always will be as a Leeds fan. But that being said, you can tell an awful lot of people are don't actually care about basketball. And it's I just read a comment. I said Paige Bueckers isn't a point guard. Someone said she directs a team flawlessly, tells everyone where it's to be, get everyone touches at her own expense, would rather see a teammate score. She's a verbal leader, leads by example. What the fuck is this person talking about? I mean this. What is this person talking about? What the fuck is this? She would rather see a teammate score than herself. She would rather lose a game than take a shot late in a game. I'm not joking. She would rather pass the ball and go stand in a corner and lose than commit a game-losing turnover. She's that's genuinely it. And I think I tweeted something else out, and it was somebody this is some of the dumbest shit ever. And again, I don't think these are people that actually watch basketball. I think I made a take and it was like about, I think I mentioned it and it was like the point guard about Paige being, someone's like, Paige has always played point guard her entire life. And that was it. Sorry, I said because Paige isn't a point guard. Nika and Chen at UConn, even the WNBA, looked best with Grace Berger beside her, who was the point guard. And someone deleted the quote tweet. Someone was like, "This guy's a fucking idiot. He said Grace Berger," and I was like, "I didn't say Grace Berger was good. I'm just saying she was a point guard." It's like saying, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. It's like saying Caitlin Clark is a point guard because when she tried to play the two beside Erica Wheeler, she didn't look very good. She looked better with wings beside her instead of another ball handler, and she didn't look good with Ari McDonald on with her. Like, it's a general statement, or it's like when you say Chelsea Gray doesn't play point guard anymore, and you watch the Aces game, and she clearly doesn't play point guard anymore. Jackie Young does, and they respond with, "Why do they call her the point guard if she's not a point guard?" Like, that is literally it. It's like, that is the logic of these people that I'm convinced don't watch basketball. I'm fully convinced they don't watch basketball. If you think Paige Bueckers is a better point guard than shooting guard, you don't watch basketball. Because Paige is a decent point guard. Paige literally is like, she's the best off-ball player in the WNBA. She's the best. Like, there should be no excuse for Paige Bueckers not starting for Team USA. But if Team USA waste Paige Bueckers at a position she's not very good at, just so that they can not play Caitlin Clark. Because, by the way, if you're not going to start Paige Bueckers at 2 because you want to start Jackie Young at the 2, you don't start Paige Bueckers. If you are going to waste your point guard position because you want to start a specific player and you want to waste that position because they're already wasting the small forward position and starting Fee Collier there, who's garbage on the wing, you have a garbage small forward playing out of position because she's really good, but maybe not quite as good as Stewie for Team USA. If you are wasting 2 positions in your starting 5, you might lose just like you almost lost in the Olympics last year. Because France are way better than they were in 2024.